Hey, I'm Harvey Hubbell. This is Harvey Hubbell's Show and Tell. And this is my friend Anthony, who is here. He's interesting people doing interesting things. That's what we do here. Okay, hey, what's your name and what do you do?
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Anthony Stokes. I'm a credible messenger. What I do is I speak to the youth in my community. I'm from Harlem, New York, and I'm 52 years old.
52 years old. You're 52 years old.
Yes.
How old were you when I met you?
11 years old.
I was 27. How did we meet?
And I was going to a camp called Clearpool in Brewster North, New York, Carmel, New York. And I met Harvey Hubbell down there. He worked he's a youth counselor in Clearpool, and I met him in the farm. But it was like a Royal Rumble in the farm, and I met him there.
So I was fighting this guy named Rambo. There was a bunch of people. Everybody was fighting. I was the camp disciplinarian. I don't know why they hired me as a camp disciplinarian, but I ran the farm. And so it's a long story, but we were fighting and a bunch of people. I was 27 years old. So that was my thing. But I know you kicked me. The first time I met you, you kicked me. And then I was like, wow, somebody kicked me. It wasn't Rambo, the guy I was fighting. And then I felt another kick, and I was like, somebody's serious about this. And then I saw you kick Rambo, and I was like, okay, he don't care who he's kicking. That's how we became friends. Anyway, so we've known each other close to 40 years.
40 years.
Okay, then what happened? How do we stay in touch after the camp? Then what happened?
After I left the camp, following year I became a camp counselor, and our relationship bonded and was damn near bonded already. And at the camp we reconnected again, and I used to start coming out there to Harvey's house in Southbury, Connecticut, and we started doing stuff at Harvey's house with the other kids in the community, in the urban community. We started bringing them, and then we created an organization, which I was part of the team, which was called the New Age Society. It was a nonprofit organization as well, where we was taking any inner city youth up to the suburbs and teaching them something different than what they already know, which is the streets. And it was good. We first started raking leaves in the community, and they was paying Harvey for that. And with that money, we'd take it and go on little trips and excursions and learn different things. So we first started doing, like I said, raking leaves. We eventually did a parking lot. We actually did a whole parking lot for this Indian
museum
in Connecticut, in Washington, Connecticut. And the following year we did Christmas in April, which I just found out was Jimmy Carter's program, where we went into the urban neighborhood of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and we took underprivileged people that couldn't afford to fix their dilapidated houses, and we did like little minor repairs, rake their yards, fix their ironings in the front of their houses, and that was it. We did that kind of stuff, but it became very meaningful to me because it gave purpose. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, a lot of times, we don't have no purpose in the community. We're in the urban neighborhoods. We don't have no purpose. And it gave me a sense of purpose, and it gave me a sense of pride of doing something for somebody else, which became bigger than me. So that meant something to me. And it had an effect later on in my life and what I do now, which I do every year. I do an annual back to school giveaway where I supply the kids in my neighborhood with school supplies, book bags, and utensils, and then also give them a speech on nonviolence. Violence affected me throughout my life, my whole life. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been hit in the head with a hammer. It's been a lot, so it just gave me something else. But that was my foundation. Well, Harvey gave me a foundation. He also, he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about history, a lot about culture, just different things. Henry Thoreau, I learned about him. Taught me camping and stuff like that. So it was a good thing. Yeah. And I thank you, Harvey.
I love you, man. I thank you.
I love you too. My mom's loved this man. My mom is no longer here. my brother, he was no longer here, my aunt, all of them. He became my family. This became my immediate family. Through the course of my years of growing up and transitioning from a child to a man, he's been there every step of the way, and I'm thankful for him.
That's true. I used to go to your high school.
Yeah, you went to my high school graduation. You know, so you've been there for when my youngest daughter was born. You was in the hospital when she was conceived. You know, your daughter is my niece.
Well, I wasn't there when
Ali
she was
Hubbell.
conceived. I was there when she gave.
When she gave birth.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you was there when she was brought out.
You babysit Alex, my baby girl.
Yes.
We did okay. So going back to when we had the foundation and you were an officer in our group, and you brought up cousins, and we brought up Patty George brought up people, we brought up people, and we went to a lot of different places. We traveled around. We did that for a lot of years.
Yeah, we did that for quite a few years.
Then after that, you started working in the film business with me.
Yeah, I did the film, which I loved doing that. I worked in the film. I went from a production assistant to a grip, and that was kind of like a big deal. So, but it was just, you know, again, I learned a lot. I learned a lot and seen a lot, and it gave me a sense of diversity, you know, which a lot of people don't get the opportunity to get in my neighborhood. You know, to see different things, meet different people, you know what I'm saying, to interact with different people. You know, so it helped build the character of who I am today.
Talk about some of the films we worked on.
We did The Nutcracker. We did Larry. What was just talking about? Larry.
Shooting gallery. We shot in the shooting gallery.
Shot in the shooting gallery in downtown Manhattan.
Yep.
The Firehouse downtown Manhattan. What's the Woo Art?
Woo Art. We did, yeah.
Yeah, we did commercials, Levi commercials, all kind of commercials.
We did commercials, indies. We did a lot.
Yeah, a lot of stuff together. Yeah, the wedding banquet. All right, and what was the other one? Was it Switchblade?
I don't know. We did a lot of them. So, okay, so then you're getting paid good money, well, good enough money for better than raking leaves, anyhow.
Yeah.
I remember when neighbor Rich was going to give you guys a nickel for every nail.
Yeah.
We found the guy's a carpenter and he spilled all these nails. First he comes up, he goes, "Oh, give him a nickel," and then they found like a million nails. So he's like, "Dude, I'm gonna go broke." It's like, "Dude, you said a nickel a nail. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna renegotiate, you know." Oh, anyway.
Yeah. It's been a beautiful roller coaster. Harvey took me camping, my first camping. He took me on to the first spa I ever been to. We was just talking about that with the eucalyptic crystals and everything, and that was my first time doing a spa, doing sauna and spa. And like I said, Harvey took me on my first camping. I'd never been camping before, but you know, I really liked it. He has land up in New Hampshire in the White Mountains. We went up there camping. We did winter camping up there. We almost froze to death up there. We had to hurry. We got up in the middle of the morning. There was no more fire, and it was like something below degrees. And we had a certain amount of minutes to hurry up and get this fire started, or hypothermia was going to kick in. And we bust our ass and got that fire going. We made us a nice stew. We ate. And we lost the keys to the car, and the snow was about a couple of feet of snow, and we lost the keys from the parking lot to the campsite. We backtrailed there, and
Wait. You lost the keys.
I lost the keys.
You lost the keys. You had the keys with you. Then we needed the keys. We were like a mile into the woods, you know? And we were with Noons, who's no longer with us anymore.
God bless the dad. Great guy.
And he was a good guy. Noons was great. And so we needed the keys for something. We're like a mile away. We're like, okay, where's the keys? And you couldn't find them. And you're like, and then you didn't run up the trail. You ran into the woods. And so you said, I can find them. And it was like, and Noons was like, how are you going to find them?
It's like literally like finding a needle in a haystack. Because it's like I said, it was a couple of feet of snow. It wasn't like just a little snowfall. So if the keys fell, it went down. And I went back, my back trail, and I found the keys. You know, which was a remarkable thing.
Nunes was ready to hotwire the car, and yeah, that was good. We were there, so we went camping a bunch of times. We'd go up
Right.
with a couple different guys and a lot of different stories.
Yeah.
But tell them about the narcoleptic.
Oh, so one day we going through the camp, and it's, you know, we see a guy, and, you know, we talk to him. He said, you know, he hunts, and Harvey's trying to figure out who's this guy on his property that's hunting, because he's saying, I bring kids up here, it's dangerous. So I don't know, you know, when you're hunting up here, y'all could accidentally shoot one of the kids. So he's talking to the guy. The guy's a narcoleptic. So, you know, that was kind of funny to be a hunter and you could fall asleep at any given time. So, all right, so that was the first time we met him. Then I think a couple weeks or a month later, we went back up there camping. We see a deer trail, and I said, look, Harv, the narcoleptic is up there hunting. He's up there with a bow and arrow. And so we questioned him again. He says, we said, what you hunting? He said, some deer or bear. What you gonna do with it? Oh, anything I hunt, I eat. But I started saying, Harv, like, what are you gonna do if he's hunting a bear and he sees the bear and he falls asleep? You know, he's in a hell of a lot of trouble in that situation.
Couldn't hold a job though, so he was a good hunter. He'd fall asleep and wake up, and the game would be there.
He hit the target and be go to sleep afterwards. So it was quite interesting. That was quite interesting. It was times where we went, we was doing something in one of the other places, and we was going across a stream. The stream looked it was very narrow at the point.
Oh my God.
At one point.
It was a river.
It was a river, but we went across the smallest part.
Yeah, we had a rope, I think.
Yeah, we had a rope tied to everybody
We had a rope that we have to hold on to.
and get across.
Yeah, get across.
But
Oh man.
in the middle of doing that, the water started getting crazy, and the whitecaps came, and then all of a sudden it was a catastrophe. I was with my cousin. My little cousin was with us, and she floated off with her friend, and the guy was with us. One of the other guys that was with us, Mark. He had to jump in the water swimming. We had to all jump in the water, go and try to save them because the water's taking them off somewhere. We didn't want them to crash into no rocks, hit their heads. So it was a little adventure. So it was like every time I came, it was always an adventure.
When Nikki went down, I went after Nikki, and I was grabbing her, and then you were like, Harv, you're up in a tree up above the thing, and you had your hand out there. I was like floating down the river, man, and I just missed your hand like by inches. I whacked into a rock, but anyway, fun times. Okay, so what was your neighborhood like? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Harlem, in the early 70s and 80s, in the 90s. And at that time, that was the crack epidemic. And as history would tell you, it was never more violence. Forget during the mafia era. They said there was more violence in Harlem during the crack era than it was during the whole mobster era. Period. It was just crazy. So I grew up in Harlem in that time. And
How come there was more violence then? I mean,
the crack made the people get more violence. They had to get high. To get high, they had to go rob, steal, or whatever they had to do to get money. And it was just, people was poor, economic deficiency. And it was just, people was crazy, and it was just a crazy time. And I grew up in that era, and it was crazy. So it was like my mother wanted me out, and when Harvey came along, that was the best thing to her since Christmas. You know, so I used to always go out there with Harvey, go get away, and that was my thing too, to get away. You know, I liked it to get away. It gave me a sense of peace and peace of mind, and trying to clear my thoughts and stuff. So it worked for me as well. You know, and I had, you know, my friends wasn't far off from what their environment, the product of their environment. So, you know, I got caught up into that. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. Like I said earlier, I was shot. I was stabbed.
What was the first time you were shot? What happened the first time you were shot?
First time I was shot, I came off a film set working with Harvey. I was working with Harvey on doing something, a commercial, I think it was. And I came home and I seen one of my friends getting jumped. And the guy had everybody at gunpoint. I just seen my friend getting jumped. I couldn't take my friend being jumped, so I just jumped in. Instead of me attacking the guy with the gun, I attacked the guys that was jumping my friend. And next thing I know, I heard 2 shots. I turned around, the gun was on my chest. He shot me. I picked him up, I threw him, and I took myself to the hospital by myself.
Where did he shoot you? Oh, and you just bought a new shirt because...
Yeah, I got a new shirt off because I just got paid from a film set.
Yeah, right.
I just had brought the jeans and shirt, and I didn't want them to rip my shirt and cut my shirt off.
I think there were bullet holes in your shirt.
Yeah.
Where did you get shot?
I got shot in my chest and then twice in my back at that time. Twice in my back. He shot me point blank range in my chest and then twice in my back.
Yeah, so I remember they said that you were up in Harlem Hospital, and I drove the 15-pass van up there, and they left some of those bullets in you?
Yeah, I had the one in my chest was in me. I think all of them are still in me.
No, I think they took some out of you.
I think it had to be the back because the bullet in the chest is still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then when was the next time you were shot?
4 years later, I was shot, and I was shot. I got shot in my finger. You can see here scar tissue here.
Well, you didn't have a gun. You went into a building.
I went in a building and got ambushed. My girlfriend was selling drugs, so the guys tried to take over her spot. And at that time, my girlfriend was making a lot of money in her spot. She was making between $30,000 a day in her spot. So they was trying to take over her spot, and I didn't take nice to that. And they knew that I was gonna come, so they ambushed me in the building. Yeah.
So tell them how you did. So you didn't have a gun. They had a gun.
They had 2 guns, and I was walking up the stairs like in the city. You know, you got the stairs that go one and a little landing, and you turn to go up the next one, and it's the landing. That's one flight. So when I came up that flight, I seen the one dude standing on the landing, the little landing. I said, "What's up? What y'all doing?" "Oh, it ain't nothing. Something told me to turn around. I felt something. And then when I turned around, the guy was on the top of the stairs aiming down, aiming at my head. I rushed him, and when I rushed him, I grabbed the gun. And when I grabbed the gun went off, and it hit me on the side of my neck here.
Wasn't it a cartridge?
A revolver.
Revolver. It was a revolver.
So I grabbed the gun. When I grabbed the gun, like I said, that first shot went, because if you grab the revolver, it can't spin, it can't get to the next chamber. So that's what my mindset was thinking. If I grab it, it won't be able to get no more shots off. So that first bullet took off. It hit me in my instead of my head, it hit me here because I changed the trajectory of where the bullet was going to go because I rushed him. So it hit me in my upper trap. And when I grabbed the gun, me knowing the gun, if his finger's in the trigger guard, I twisted it back. He got to let go because his fingers in the trigger guard is going to get broken. So he released the gun. I grabbed the gun. But meanwhile, when that was going on, when he was shooting me, the guy I just left and asked him what was going on, he had pulled out a gun and shot me twice in the back. So when I grabbed this gun, the guy tried to run past me who shot me just then. He tried to run past me. I shoot him in the back of his head. He falls, and when he falls, he lands on his face. I had like 2 more rounds left in the gun, or 3. I dumped the 3 on the guy that was behind me. For some reason, he was on the floor. So I dumped 3 bullets at him. But in that process, my girlfriend is running upstairs with my gun. I didn't have my gun like Harvey, so I didn't have my gun on me. She's running upstairs with my gun. I tell her, "Nah, never mind. Go ahead, just take it back down the stairs." Luckily, she took it down the stairs and took it away. Because when she came back, the police was coming. They was already there. They took me to Harlem Hospital, but in the process of going to Harlem Hospital, they took one of the guys that I shot to Harlem Hospital. So meanwhile, while I'm in the emergency room, he's in the other bed. I'm in one bed, he's in the other bed over there. I get out of my bed, I jump on his bed, and I start choking him. Telling him to take short breaths, because I'm like, y'all gonna put this dude in the same bed, same hospital with me? Y'all crazy? You know, because I was really just so mad that they tried to kill me. I was just more so mad that they even had the audacity to try that. So I was really mad they brought him in the hospital with me. I tried to choke him. The detectives knocked me off of him, but I was trying to kill him in there. And that was that time.
But you didn't choke him. He lived.
He lived because the detectives knocked me off him.
So you were shot 2 times.
2 times, yeah.
When were you stabbed?
Why
Why were you stabbed?
When I was in Rikers Island.
Oh yeah.
I was in Rikers Island, and at that time, Rikers Island was segregated, meaning the blacks had one side and the Puerto Ricans had the other side. It was the Latin Kings. They had the house. So the Latin Kings wasn't used to black people being in the same area as they is because they killed everything that came in the house or stabbed it up. Meanwhile, I'm in the house, and I'm running the house. So that was extra on top of it, like, yo, who is this? And he's running the house. Y'all bugging out because these kids came in and they was like, what's going on here? Because they were supposed to be like the warriors of the Latin Kings. So they came in, they seen this black dude and he's running the house, the Latin King house. They was like, yo, what's going on here? So it was the middle of chow. So one of the dudes was like, yo, let me holler at you for a second. He called me to talk to me. But in the process of him talking to me, he has a T-shirt over his hand. And his hand is down, but I'm not paying really no attention, but I'm paying attention, and that's what saved me, because under the T-shirt he had a knife, a shank in his under the shirt. So he was like, "Yo, let me talk to you." So he had him and another dude was like, "Let me talk to you." So I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" You know what I'm saying? So I said, I'm talking like I don't have no problems, and I'm not scared of nothing. So I went in the back. Like, "Oh, what's going on? What's happening? What you doing? You running the house? This is a Latin King house." I said, this is a house. This is a prison. We all in here. Ain't nobody got no house. We in here. You don't pay no bills here. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, he tried to stick me. He didn't try. He stuck me. He hit me right in my chest. I have the wound in my chest. You could see it. And his friend had stabbed me on the side of my back. And I started fighting him. So I knocked him out. And the piece fell off, and then I'm fighting his other guy, the other guy. And all the black people in the house, since I've been there, I made sure all the black people had it peaceful. They could eat, they could do whatever they wanted to in the house. So they just looking, nobody's doing nothing. And I'm like, yo, none of y'all gonna step up? So I'm like, wow. So later on, one of the black dudes, I know him from the streets. He was like, he's doing natural life in the federal penitentiary. His name is Damian Hardy. They labeled him a terrorist, but he's doing they try to move him to ADX. So his brother was in there with me. So his brother knew I knew his brother, so he couldn't do that without holding me down. And his brother found out like, yo, you was there with my man and you let him get jumped. So he intervened. So now he's helping me fight the whole, because I'm fighting the whole house now because, like I said, it's a Latin King house. If one get in it, they all got to get in it, or they get in trouble. So I'm fighting the whole house. So, and meanwhile, nobody's helping me, but now one dude helped me. Now, to me, the odds is on our favor because in the penitentiary, it's no offense to nobody, but one black guy is equivalent to six Latinos. Like they say, like if you got one black dude, it's equivalent to like six Latinos in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? So
How?
because we're more durable than they are. We're more physical than they are. That's meaning like that. They carry more weapons than us, but they can't. They really not. We consider them flimsy.
Well, yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. So that's how it's treated. And that's how it was until late now. Now you get the MX-13, and then that's a little different. But the Latin Kings, they was just softies just by numbers. They just really handle stuff by numbers. And so I survived that situation.
So after all of this, you started a group. Why did you start your foundation, your group?
Because there was kids in the community I'm watching, and I'm realizing the kids don't have it. Their parents don't have it. we're in a time and age now where money is messed up and there's no really father figures in the household because most of the fathers that are in the penitentiary are getting high, using drugs. So there's no money there. So the parent, if it's a one-parent household, the mother's trying to maintain everything else. She don't have no really money to subsidize for school supplies and stuff like that. So I felt like I became a surrogate to them as far as like, I want to supply y'all with, help y'all with the school supplies and try to mentor your kids. Like I said, I'm a credible messenger, meaning kids don't believe nothing until, like, if you just come in there and be like, hey, let me tell y'all this, and this, and this, and y'all preaching to the kids, and they just like, man, who the fuck are you? Why are we gonna listen to you? What did you do that we gotta listen to you? Or what have you been? Where you been that we feel like we gotta listen to you? Meaning that I came from the community where I was somebody, my name hold a little weight. They're gonna listen to me because he's been there. They can check my background. I've been out there. I've been there. I've been shot. I've been stabbed, and I done gave it back tenfold. So now they're gonna listen, and I could talk to them, and they're gonna be a little bit more sensitive to hearing me. So I started talking to the kids and telling them about different ways and telling them this is what's gonna lead to, and this is what it is. So I started getting that message and giving the school supplies. It took off. Harvey helped me out, and his daughter, God bless her soul, she came the first year, and she photographed the whole event. It was a beautiful turnout. I do it with support of the community and support of my friends and family that donate. Harvey donates Capture Time Production, and a few other people, a few rappers and stuff. I done work with Jim Jones, Jadakiss, and all the different kind of rappers and stuff like that. Music producers, Teddy Riley and them, who did Remember the Time for Michael Jackson, and Beat It. He did some music for Backstreet Boys and everything. So they help me out. They donate to my cause. So I put that to the event.
So how many backpacks do you give kids, and what time of year do you do it?
I do it all the time before this. At the end of the summer, I do it usually like at the end of August. So every year I do it like at the end of August. So it's right before school starts. So that's the real crucial point in time for these kids' parents and for kids, because summer's over. They gotta rebuttal themselves, cool themselves down from the whole summer of freedom and acting crazy. And their parents don't have the money at this point in time. They got to buy the kids clothes and sneakers. And as we all know, sneakers cost a lot of money. Not like when we grew up, a pair of sneakers can cost anywhere from $100 to $600 or maybe more, depending on what you're getting. You're getting a pair of Jordans, and they some retros. You might pay like $600 for a pair of Jordans. And then now you got to buy clothes. It ain't no money there for the kids' parents.
So you've been doing this for a couple of years. You're working on a 501c3, so you'd be a not-for-profit. But people can donate. What do they donate to? They'll point it like right there. Where do they donate it?
They donated to my account where I have for the kids and for the event. I usually give, like I said, I give out book bags, entertainment, food. I feed them and their family for the day. I might get it, like for the younger kids, I get the bouncy house. I get face painting, cotton candy, popcorn, and stuff like that. And I have some people come in from different places and talk to them. This year, I acquired a magician to come out for this year. And the barbershop, they're going to give out free cuts. Like give a raffle, and like a couple of parents who the kids don't really have it, don't have raffled out. And if they can win free haircuts, and they can go to the barbershop, or I might have the barber come out for the event. But if they can't come out, they're going to have a ticket where they can take to the barbershop, and it'll be valid for a free haircut.
So you do all of this and for parents to bring their kids, because you only give bags to people who...
Yeah, like I said, if people come out, because people always come out for free stuff. So, but my rule is no kids, no book bag. You don't get a book bag. You don't have a book bag. No kid, don't come up to the table to ask for a book bag. Please don't.
Can you get your face painted if you don't have a kid?
I might let you get a face paint. I might let you eat a little something because everybody still be hungry. So a lot of times, a lot of the homeless people come up to get something to eat. In the events, I always let them eat.
And it's at the park, A. Philip Randall Park.
It's called that's the name of the park. Yes, it's called A. Philip Randolph. That was a civil rights one of the first civil rights movements that started the civil rights movement was A. Philip Randolph. He started the Porter Union with the trains, and that was one of the first movements. He's one of the guys of the first movement of civil rights before Dr. Martin Luther King.
And that was also the name of your high school.
And it was the name of my high school, A. Philip Randolph Campus High School.
So you know a lot of these people. A lot of these people that you're helping their kids go to school.
Yeah, a lot of people I grew up with. A lot of the parents I grew up with them. Some I didn't, but a lot of them I grew up because I get a lot of people come from all over the place to come support and get their kids supported.
You want to talk about gun laws in New York?
Yeah, I'm a victim of the gun cases. I done got caught with guns after gun after gun for many years in New York City. This last case, it was a gun case. And now the laws is changing in New York where they actually try to make guns legal in New York. A lot of people are scared of it, saying it's going to be a problem. Everybody have guns in New York. But I have a different opinion on it. I look at it from a person who used to play with the guns is it's going to be more of a deterrent because if everybody has a gun, you ain't going to want to rob somebody that possibly have another gun too. You're going to be like, oh, wait, hold up. But you will rob a person and be like, nah, he don't have nothing to protect himself. Let me rob him. You only want a victim. You don't want another predator. Predator don't go after predators. So that's that. One of my friends I grew up with, which was Scott, he was one of my street mentors. He always used to say, you don't want a problem with another person who's about a problem because it doesn't get resolved. No problems get resolved with that. If you got a problem, you got a person who like problems, and you're a person who like problems, there's no resolution in that situation. So that's how I see it. I see that for the gun laws as well.
Right, and then you talked about Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, when I was in Atlanta, everybody in Atlanta got guns. Everybody. I seen people I know from New York they wouldn't bust a fruit in a grape fight. They got guns.
And less crime.
And the crime level was very low there.
All right. What else do you talked about? I don't know if you want to talk about the guy that you were talking about him last night.
Who?
The guy who killed Scott.
Oh, Tone. This kid named Tone. Yeah, I met the guy who killed my crimey, which is my co-defendant, and I thought it was going to be a scenario because everybody know back in the days that if anytime Scott had a problem, I'll be the problem solver. I'll go handle the problem. So I figured that when he come home, he gonna want a problem with me because he gonna think he has a problem with me because he took out one of my close friends. At one particular time, that might have been the case, but over time, and I did my time, and you think, you change, you grow, what I'm saying? And, you start to have a different outlook and different perspective on things. So he came home, and right before that, I was having my gun used to be on me all the time until I got caught with the gun, which was 2 years ago. I got caught with my gun. The guy came home about 2 years ago, too. And I ran into him after my house was raided and the gun was found. I ran into him. And I didn't know what it was going to be, what the situation was going to be. But I knew one thing. When I was walking up the block, a car was driving up behind me real slow. Me being who I was, my old nature made me recognize the threat. So, I'm watching from my peripheral view. I'm watching the car pull up behind me, and I'm trying to put a little bit more distance between me and the car because it's driving slow. He's not trying to be noticed, so but he's a little further back. I'm walking up a little fast. I fasten my pace in my walk to put as much distance as possible between me and the car because I recognize the driver is the kid that killed my co-defendant. So I said, okay, here we go. The situation is what it is, and I don't have my gun on me, so it is what it is. So he gets out the car. He yells. He's like, yo, Ant. I'm walking. I turn around. I'm still looking at my peripheral vision. I'm watching to see what his body language is doing. But it's non-threatening, and he got both his hands out in front of him, and it's out, open, palms up. So, that's a sign of surrender. And he's like, Ant. So I turned around and said, what's up? He said, Ant, I'm not coming at you, no problems, no bullshit. I'm unarmed. I don't have no gun on me. I'm just coming. I just want to talk. I said, okay. He said, can I talk to you? I said, sure. So when he said that, I cut the distance between us real quick and got up into his personal space because now I'm up in his personal space. We're going to have to get physical if it gets to that part of where my life is in danger. And I'm quite proficient if we got to that situation. So now I'm like, yo, what's up? He said, yo, I just want to let you know that had nothing to do with you. That was something that happened. You wasn't here because I was in jail when that happened. So it had nothing to do with you. We don't have no beef. We don't have no problems. I don't want no problems with you. People are talking, saying that you're going to get me. I said, listen, I'm right here in front of your face, and I'm telling you from right here from me, and as me as a dude, I want to tell you straight up and down, we don't have a problem. I'm living my life. You go live your life. And we don't have no problem. We don't have no beef, no smoke. I don't want none. And none of that. He was like, yeah, because, I know you be over here in the park a lot. You like to sit down. And he talking about the park where I give out the book bags. That's where I usually be at with the kids. So he said, I know you be in the park. I said, yeah, you be in the barbershop on 140. Just to let them know. I know where you be at too. It's like you ain't telling me nothing I don't know about you. You be in the barbershop. You go there all the time, and you be up on the hill, and you be in the park with your back to the streets. Let him know he's vulnerable, too. He could get it, too. You know what I'm saying? I said, listen, man, forget all of that he's saying all that other stuff because we spitting in the wind right now. I said, listen, like I told you, I don't have no problems with you, and if we had a problem, it would have been a problem already. All right, so from here, we ain't gonna never be at no bars, drinking and buddy and all that, but we don't have no problem. Let's leave it at that. I walked away with, my conscience clear, and I felt secure on his word, and I felt secure in my word that I know I wasn't trying to harm him or bring him no bodily harm, and he wasn't trying to bring me no harm. And that was it. But it gave me a sense of peace because I was worried about that situation. Was it going to bring me back to a part of my life that I didn't want to go back to? But if it did, it did. That's just how it go. I'm glad at the transition in my life, but I know I'm not too far from it if necessary, if it had to. But I'm glad I'm at where I'm at with it.
So AJ,
Yep.
all the stuff you just said, why is this the way it is? Why is it the way it is?
Like I said, we come up in an era and a time where that's all we knew. That's all we knew is that violence. Violence let's set the precedent of who you are and what you're about, like who you are. It gave you your status of who you are and where you fit on the food chain in the streets. And that's important because that's a matter of living and dying. You know what I'm saying? There's still places I go and people tuck their chains, people duck and dodge. I walked into one spot, a gambling spot one day, and people started leaving out the gambling spot, and I'm just like, where this guy's going? I'm not even thinking about nobody. But I had to remember who I once was. You know what I'm saying? So I laughed and I just kept it moving. I just kept it going. And I had to literally tell people I'm not on that, man. Hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Reach out my hand extend my hand out to them. Hey, what's going on? I'm Anthony. Reintroduce myself. I had to do that a lot of times now since now where I'm at now. And honestly, that's what kept me out of jail this last time. Was that me being able to show the prosecution that I'm not that same individual no more. Like that video you sent them that time. And then I had a couple other people send them a video, and then me talking to them directly. That's how I was able to get probation for that. And it's a good feeling sometimes just to be able to be at peace with that.
So I'm going to ask you the same question again about the book bags. So education, you and I have talked about education a lot, and about reading, and about teaching reading, and empathy and compassion. And the school systems need help. We got to figure out the best way to do it, but that's the way out for a lot of people.
It definitely is. The school system is very, very, very key to it, because it took me learning to read, learning to re-educate myself, and learning me to know my history, learning the history, and gave me a sense of pride and of self, and like you said, a sense of empathy and sympathy. You know what I'm saying? And I read somewhere it says, "With knowledge bring forth great sorrow." And for a long time, I was like, what the hell that mean? But now I get it. You know what I'm saying? When you obtain knowledge, you start to see. It's like you remove the blindfolds that was covering your eyes, and you get the clairvoyant. You get to see things, and then you see the sadness of it, like the sadness of what we was doing to ourselves, and what we have been doing, and what we in some cases still be doing to ourselves. And with that understanding, it gives me a sense of like, nah, that's not what's up. My mother didn't want it for me. You didn't want it for me. You gave me a shot to go a different way. We all choose our own paths to go, but sometimes we are set on the right path, but it's about the choices we make. You know what I'm saying? You have your choices, and that's it. You get your choices, and it's what you choose. And I choose now the right path. I choose life over death. And that's it. I was talking to somebody, and this earlier on the phone, this young lady I met, and she brought up one of my major facts when I talk to the kids. I always ask the kids, what's the most important thing? I want to ask you too. What's the most important thing on your tombstone? That's a question I ask everybody. What's the most important thing on your tombstone? And a lot of people don't, they say your name, the time you was born, your death. I said, no, it's that line in between the time you was born and the time you died. It's the dash. And the dash is the most important part of that on the tombstone, because it's the part of everything you accumulated up until from your time you was born until the time you died. Is that dash. This is who I am. This is what I did. This is what I did. And this is where I was going in my path of my life. So it's the dash. It's about the dash. It's about that. And you don't get to understand the dash until you get knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And so it's so important for us to get a higher learning. You know what I'm saying? To get higher learning and learn to learn. Because that's what it is. It's learning to learn. I watch a lot of Westerns now, because it gives, they talk about it a lot. They talk about that a lot in the Westerns.
So, learning to learn, lifelong learning, and getting the kids, giving them the leg up, the tools they need to be able to go to school, with their bag where they're going to put their books in, they're going to carry their tools that they need, be it notebooks, pencils, pens, things that they're going to need at school.
Yeah, like I told you the other day, my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's 17. She changed her transition in her life from going from track and field. She was very into track. Now she's into electrician work, doing electric work. And my friend, one of my friends I met in the penitentiary, he worked with Con Edison. He's been working in Con Edison since he came home. He's been home for about 20 years, same time I came home. He's been home for 20 years, and he's been working with Con Edison. He had talked to my daughter real quick, and he quizzed her on a couple of things about electricity because he worked with Con Edison, like I said. And he was very impressed. And the first thing he did was he gave her a book bag with all the tools that she would need for her craft. And she was so excited about that book bag. So it gave me another sense of like understanding what this book bag can do with these kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's it pretty much.
Well, you had quiet time to think about things, and we can use this or not use this. But me and Julie Lay, when you got released, you were locked up for how long were you locked up for?
7.5 years.
And we were there when you came out. What were you thinking? When you came out that first day, what were you thinking?
Just thankful that I have another opportunity to get out because there was so many people I left in the penitentiary that they didn't know when they was going to get out or if they was ever going to get out. I knew a dude that did everything. They let him go outside to go to the store for the warden and go shopping for the warden, but at his parole board, they denied him, saying he was institutionalized. But meanwhile, y'all let this man go out every day for the penitentiary. But y'all couldn't let this man go, and he showed you that he changed his life. So, I got an opportunity, and I owe it to, if not myself, to the other people who's not going to do it. Like, we always, I had a podcast for a minute called From a Prison Cell to Living Well, which was which has a lot of meaning to it, but the meaning was, I done came home from jail. Now I'm doing better for myself. I'm walking a different path. So that's living well. Now, from prison cell to living well is I'm living well. But we always say we're gonna throw a rope over the wall, not throw a ladder to the wall, saying that we're gonna put a ladder to climb to go back in the wall. We're gonna throw a rope over to pull our comrades over the wall. So it's that. That was my thing coming home was I want to do that. I want to live well. I want to from a prison cell to live well. I want to do the things I wasn't able to do. I got opportunity because when you're in jail, you're dead. It's a form of psychologically and physically you're dead because you're stagnated. Time is going nowhere. You ain't doing nothing with your time, and you just in there. So I want to live. And that's what, when I came home, I wanted to live. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to be happy and live and do things that I haven't done before and see things I haven't did. That was important to me.
And you travel now.
I can travel, but I legitimately can't travel because I'm on paper, because I'm on probation. But I have a passport and everything. And my probation officer says your behavior is so good, anything you send in, we're going to approve it. They put me up for early release, so I'm just a matter of time before I get off anyway, and I want to travel.
So school to prison pipeline. What would you tell the kids in the school to prison pipeline?
Honestly, prison is not it for so many reasons. One of the reasons is they're taking away everything that the people that died for us, the Attica riots, some of the convicts that did those riots that held prison, office COs hostage and stuff like that. And they got grievances, and they got stuff for us to have as being a prisoner. They taking those things back. They resending those things back where they don't have them things. They had schooling. You was able to get a degree. My friend, he got a degree before they took it down. And right now, he's been in jail since the age of 15. When I met him in jail, he never been with a woman. He never been to a club. He never had alcohol. He never did none of that. But he had killed somebody by mistake when he was a kid. And now he's a foreman on a construction site because of all the skills that they get. They take the trades out the penitentiary system. So my thing is, and before it was like a status, like you went to jail and you survive, you have the status. You're like, yeah, I did that and I'm here. I made it through. I made it through the fire. Now it's no fire. You just going to hell. And it's like you going to hell. So school, take that any day because you get all that same stuff without the disciplinary factors. And right there in school. You know, I had a lot of fun when I went to high school. You know. So I say that take that because you go in that penitentiary, there's nothing there no more. You can't get nothing out of it. You be going in there just to kill your time. Yeah, that's it. You be in there just wasting time.
What else? Anything else?
I'm just happy to be here. That's something I say to my other comrades that did time with me. When it gets bad and gets hard, sometimes I just be like, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be free. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy to be out here in the world. So I'm just happy to be here again. I'm happy here to be here with you, Harv. I'm happy to rekindle old memories and do new things and experience new things. You know, what y'all doing right here is a great deal. What y'all doing with these kids, with this dyslexia and the education system, that's big. It's big. It just shows you the kind of heart that you always had. It's just manifesting into your craft. You know? I'm getting a little emotional, but it's all right.
We've seen some stuff, man.
I got a question.
What's your question?
Going through everything that you've been through, and spending time in jail, and all of the life you live, pretty much there. It's like, what would you tell youth in your community that you've learned, and what maybe like, hey, this is told to you, but it's a lie, and the truth is you should do this, this, or this.
Like I said, I try to tell them that now. Like, you got to take your life, take a hold of your life, and rein it in, because this, like I said, it's nothing there. It's no more glorifying this lifestyle, because before it was a means to justify the end. Now it's no means to justify the end. You're just destroying. And it's if you're just destroying and not building, then it's no balance. It's no equation to that. So it's just that's an unorthodox equation, mathematics. It just doesn't compute. And I tell that to the kids all the time. I tell them, like, yo, you're gonna lose time, and that's one thing you can't get back is time. You're losing so much time and wasted time. And your mom's gonna put it. Your parents, they give you all these things, and you just took it for granted by putting yourself in these equations, in these situations. And now, like I say, you go in that penitentiary, you can go in there and you can lose your life in there. At any given time, I could have lost my life in that penitentiary. It's like this: a drop of a dime, snap of a finger, anything, you can lose your life, and ain't nothing out there worth your life. Nothing. I constantly tell them that, and I tell them, like, out of all the things I done did, that was important was me meeting this man right here in that farm those 40 years ago. And those things is what gave me the tools and things to turn my life around. So it's important. Education is important. Knowledge is important. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is everything. Knowledge is open up all the doors. So that would be my answer to that question. Get everything you can get out of school, because everything else they tell you is a myth.
Jamie, what kind of question you got? You got something in there?
Have you ever came across guardian angels living in New York, and what was your thought about the mayoral race between Curtis Seawall and the Mandani and
Cuomo?
Now, how do you think New York is at the moment after?
I was going for Cuomo. I liked the Cuomo because I was used to him. I know him. I grew up under him. Now that De Silva dude, I was around that 80s when he was running on the trains and all that. My brother was a graffiti artist, and he was around at that time, La Familia, and all that time when them gangs was going on back in that era, and that was just like a what was like what they considered Bernard Getz was what do you call it?
Bernard,
Bernard Getz, one who shot the kids on the train.
oh, vigilante.
A vigilante. That's all. That's all. De Silva was, a vigilante. He was a gang that he claimed that it was a vigilante work and he was doing police work, but all he was a vigilante. He was using that to keep stomping on people and everything like that. The way now, what I consider New York at right now, we're in a state of emergency, but it's way before Mandani and way before all of them. We've been in there since Giuliani took office and Bloomberg is in office. We've been at a state of emergency with the police brutality and what goes on with the police force. It's like nobody's putting the rein in them in, even with Eric Adams. But I didn't expect nothing different from Eric Adams or Giuliani because they was prosecutors and police officers before they got into the position. So I just think that, we got a lot of work to do. And Mandani, he said he's going to do a lot of stuff. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he do. I'm willing to give him a chance. I voted for him in the preliminary mayor votes. Let's see what he could do.
Ryan, you got a question?
Yeah, for the future, like how can the community think just do better overall? Like you said, obviously in the past you haven't been happy with how some things have gone. So how can going forward, like whether it's a new mayor candidate or just the community as a whole, how can we just
we just all gotta step up and unite, and like we gotta stand on one accord, on one thought, one process of what's our agenda, what is the agenda moving forward, what we gonna do moving forward, and stick with it. Like we gotta find one agenda and one accord, and then stick to it. Like if we saying education is key, let's focus on that. Make sure everything is being done to get to the education. Everything, all the keys is put it in the right place for education. And that's very important. That part right there. We could, and they need more outreach, more people like Harvey in the community. They shut down a lot of stuff that we once had, like the boys and girls clubs and stuff like that. Those little PAL and all that. That was stuff that really helped us out when I was young. After school centers and all that. They taking funding from all of that to put in the ICE and all this other stuff, but you're taking away from the stuff from the foundations of the community.
You've seen a lot of stuff and how things work.
It's up to us men too. Us being men and being a part of our kids' lives. It's very important. And the mothers is raising these kids now in the community without no fathers, no father figures, and no father laws. For us in our community, it's important for us to take a step forward and put our foot forward and take a part in their lives. I think that's a major part too.
You got 3 daughters.
I got 3 daughters, and my daughter always tell me like, Dad, you are the foundation of what I see for as a man moving forward. So you gotta lead by example. She always say I'm a ladies' man, but that's too much, But I try to tell her that had nothing to do with me being a father to you, because I've been a father to you.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's your question?
You talk a lot about fatherhood and just like he really just stressed like how important that is. Like you see that in the community, like how important the father figure really is.
Yeah, the father figure is very important because a mother can't teach what a man can teach. A mother don't have no experience and have no understanding of what it is of being a male coming up in the community and being ethnic or being a part of the minority, just being a man in general. It's a lot of dilemmas, and a woman can't understand that to teach that. So it's like hard. And we are the disciplinaries, us being the men, we are the disciplinaries in the household. So it's needed, because without the disciplinary, it's too easy. Like you see these kids going out here, it's heartless. They out here heartless. They out here with no remorse, no caring, no nothing. I seen a video the other day where a guy he had a fender bender. He gets out his car. The girl gets out her car, rather, and confronts the guy for hitting her car. And they shoot the lady to death. First, they shot her twice, and then he finished her off with 4 more rounds and then drives over her. That's crazy to me. And that comes from somebody not desensitizing ethics. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I said, it goes back to morals, principles, and code of ethics. It's none no more. And we say that in the community all the time. It's no more that, like when I came up, I had an older person that gave me the rules and regulations of what goes on. Like, hey, you got to do this and this and this. Hold the door for the lady. Go. Even the old timers be like, hustlers be like, hold that door for the lady. Help her carry her stuff, her groceries upstairs. You know what I'm saying? I had Harvey as a male figure, father figure. Those factors play a part. You know what I'm saying? Some people had the Boy Scouts. You know what I'm saying? They had this counseling and, had that kind of stuff to give you teachings. And, they don't have that no more. They're not getting none of that. Yeah. Yes.
All right, a little off topic, but what is your favorite food spot in Harlem? I travel to New York a lot, so I like to try new food.
I go back to the old school. I go to Sylvia's. Sylvia's Miss Wood on 128th Street in Lenox, which is called Malcolm X Boulevard. It's an old place. It's been there since the 70s. I go there. I like her food. It's a little expensive, but it's good. And I like also, it's a spot on 116th Street, and between 7th and 8th. It's called Amy Ruth's. Another good Southern food. I like that food too. Besides that, you can send me to any McDonald's, Burger King, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm with it. The Popeyes, I'm going. I'm with it. But those are my two places.
Yeah, what do you think about the family dynamics and welfare state? I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I've heard that an intact family doesn't get as much cash from a welfare.
It's the welfare system was created first and foremost was to break the family apart. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time you get welfare, and if you have a father figure in the household, they start deducting money now right off the way out of that. They say, oh no, you got a male, he provides, let's equate his check into the equation. If a family is going there for help, they're going there for help, regardless of what the father's put into it. So when you tell them now, oh, you got a father, you can't get it now because you got a male in your case and he's working. So I think they really need to reconstruct that guideline, because they destroyed the family and the black family and the families in Harlem and the urban communities, period, with that. Because anytime it was a father figure, like if you ever watched the old movie Claudine with James Earl Jones, when he was there, they was like, oh, hide this. When the caseworker was coming in, because James Earl Jones brought the mother the iron and all that stuff. And he had to go hide in the closet because if she saw him there, the caseworker would have deducted money from welfare. So the welfare, it's like a catch-22 with them. They help you, but they only help you if your family is not really together. If you got a broken family, that's when they really help you.
How many bullets do you have in you? I mean, how many times have you been shot? Of all the times?
Altogether, about 7 times.
7 times.
Yeah.
You know, you have more bullets in you than our military guys, like a lot of Marines. Wow, Joe.
Yeah.
So what is it like when you're shot? As Jordan said, the emotional part.
Part. Psychologically, we it's like, not to break it like that, but we're a little detached to it. I'm like a little detached to that. Like, I could see somebody get killed and it's like nothing because it's so common. It's so common of a thing. You get shot and you survive. It's just like, all right, yeah, you're all right. Because I ain't going front. When I got shot the first time, NWA had a song, Real Niggas Don't Die. And I was singing that song when I got shot. I was singing that song, Real Niggas Don't Die, We Eventually Multiply. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I heard that song, it took me a while to understand that was divine intervention, and it wasn't just no craziness. You know what I'm saying? I had to grow into that thought pattern that this was divine intervention, but because we were so listening to rap music, watching the stories, hearing the stories of different gangsters and all that, that's part of the life. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to get shot and survive, but realistically, you think about it, getting shot, you're the victim. So you got to look at it from a different perspective, like, say, hold up, I'm the victim. You know what I'm saying? I done put a lot of people in that position, but I was the victim during the times I got shot. I was, you know what I'm saying? So I was victimized, But, growing up, you took it as like, all right, it's a status quo. Like, I got shot. A badge of honor. Look, see, look at this. I got this bullet wound right here.
Can you talk about maybe a little bit of like how music does influence people, how it makes you think certain ways or want to be a certain way?
I think it goes a little bit past the music. Music just magnified it because we grow up with it. That's the conversation of the streets. So music is just a magnification of the heartbeat of the streets. So the music is just, it spreads it a little bit more quicker. But it's just the conversation of the streets was really got me to that. But the rap music is just another facet of communication. Like you ever play the game 7-Up? You tell a person a message and you wait to see how the message get all the way across. It's the same thing. That's what rap is. It's this gossip. That's all it is, street gossip. But it does have effect on some people. Like you got some people that's simple-minded, so the rap music does have a play on it. Especially now, this drill music, I don't like none of that. That jibby-jabby music now they got out. I think that's so detrimental to this youth today. What goes on now with all the violence, that drilling. And that's what they call it now. They drilling. These young kids are drilling. The King Vaughn and all that other stuff. Stupid. Chicago rap.
I guess one other question. What do you think your life would have been like had you grown up in a different environment? Do you think, environment has a big part to play in how people grow up and, experiencing life there versus somewhere else?
I believe, of course, it does. It does. It has something to do with how you came up and what economics you came up in, and what the economics of that community is, because that's the tools, your learning blocks, your building blocks, to say, like, what I'm saying, you pick up the traits of what your peers is going through, what you see every day. You know what I'm saying? What you see every day, you see the kids struggling, going to school with holes in the sneakers. And then you see the kid who got a little bit better because his father might sell a little drugs, do bootlegging. Now he got on a brand new pair of sneakers, brand new sweater. Now you see the attention he might get over the dude who has the holy sneakers. He be like, hold up. So this is what it takes to get recognized? I got to do something to change my environment. I got to do something to change my outlook on things. Let me go hustle. Let me go sell a crack. Let me go sell cigarettes. Let me go do something to go get my clothes up. Now I got a brand new pair of Jordans on and a new hoodie on and a new leather jacket. Yeah, now I'm it. And yeah, look what this did for me. And look what I accomplished. Now look what I can do. I can go take my girl out to eat now. Now, because it's the economics of it, It's no such thing as... I used to always say there's no such thing as black on black violence, this thing of economic deficiency. Like, what I'm saying? If it's no money, then you're going to have people trying to get money because that's what society teaches you. Society teaches you that. School teaches you that you have to get the money to do this, to be successful. You got to get a good paying job so you can pay the bills. You got to get a good paying job to get the nice house. You got to get a good job to get the car that you want, your dream car. Yeah, you get the good job to save up your bank money, to have a bank account for your kids and go to college. So that's how society in itself teaches us. But it's just a different outlook coming up from a different point of view,
So, when we were kids, we got a newspaper for doing good stuff.
Yeah, this me, Harvey, Manny, Sarah, and my cousin Nikki, and we did. This is New Age Society article when we was a part of that. And I think this was at Christmas in April. This
I
was
think it was Christmas in April. I think we were wearing those shirts.
yeah, we was wearing the shirts that time where we was helping the community at Bridgeport, which is another ghetto. When I came up, Bridgeport was another form of another ghetto. Bridgeport News. That's what they called it.
What year is that at the top?
Let me see. 1990.
1990.
August 26, 1990. The 90s was crazy. This kid right here, we was just talking about this kid on the end. His name was Manny, and when he left the camp, he went and got his hair cut in a style, and the name written on the back. It said Shitty on the back, and that was his nickname in the streets was Shitty. But he also, when he was selling drugs, he had a drugs they called Shitty Snacks. So he put that on the drugs, and he wondered why he got locked up. Shitty and Shitty Snacks. This is common sense, but that's how he came up. That he who want to put some stupid name on the back of your head,
Like the cops weren't even bucking for a detective. They're like, hey, somebody walks by him, Shitty. Maybe that's Shitty from Shitty Snacks, the vials we find.
Yep.
All right, what else, Anthony?
Oh man, at the end of the day, man, it's like I said, it's about the choices we have. I got a picture in my house. It says choices, right? And it has a picture of a gun, the Bible, and a dictionary. And that picture holds a lot of significance because it's really those choices. You have those choices in life. And which choice you going to make, So hopefully now, I'm saying everybody make a better choices. I know I'm making better choices now in my life. I have no more. Like I said, the bases is loaded. I'm in the ninth inning in 3 strikes. I'm up 2 strikes. There's only one more strike. One more strike and I'm out. So I got to make the best choices of my life at this point in the game. Harvey, thank you for this outlet. Thank you guys for the questions. I appreciate it. All of them was good questions. There was no bad questions. And thank you, man. I guess it's a wrap.
That's it. It's another day. That's Harvey Hubbell Show and Tell. I love you, man. See you soon. Peace. I love you.
I love you too, Harvey, man. Thank you, man. You're the best. HH5, you're the best. I love you, man. Love you. Love you. Yes.
All right.
Coffee tough.